I've been using Procreate a lot in my design lately, and I just wanted to share with y'all some of the ways in which I use it every day and some of the things that I have found extremely helpful that aren't the most obvious. My first Procreate pro tip is to play around with different brush types. This one may seem obvious, but it can really make or break your creative process. If something's not the right fidelity for the level of sketching that you're doing, it can be frustrating and more annoying and feel less like real drawing. There may be other tools as well, like automatic smoothing for some brushes that help in certain parts of your process and hinder it in others. Don't be afraid to switch it up. Next, utilize shape helping functionality. I don't know if that's really what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it here. You can see me drawing several well-known shapes like circles, squares, and a straight line, but they don't look very even or neat. So here's what you can do instead. When creating one of these shapes, hold down and don't release your Apple Pencil yet. You'll see a menu appear at the top of the screen that says Edit Shape, and you'll have the option to transform it into a better version of what you were trying to do. So basically smoothing out those lines for you, and you can also do the same thing just automatically with a line if you just hold down while creating a line. There are also some more complicated options like being able to control the points and make adjustments to a shape you've already drawn. You can also use it for curved lines, which can be super helpful at certain times. Next is selecting and dragging a fill color to save time. Grab the color that you have selected, or select a new one, and click and drag it into a complete shape. This means no gaps. This is what happens if you do have gaps. So fix that gap, and then you'll be able to utilize the functionality. So after the shape fixing functionalities, I would say Alpha Lock is the best kept secret and most useful tool in Procreate. You can go to a layer, tap it, and click Alpha Lock. This allows you to color over existing lines, recoloring them, drawing attention to them, but without creating anything new. So if you want to add anything, you'll need to disable Alpha Lock in the same way you enabled it. I find it especially helpful for showing selected states or error states. Okay, so maybe this is the best kept secret. Swipe 3 fingers down to get all the contextual actions you would expect. Copy, duplicate, cut, paste. It shouldn't be this hidden, but it is. Next, layers are your friend. Use them. So this is just a quick example of how you can use layers. Background, you can select a solid color. And now I'm on a new layer, sketching out just a box that I might use for a UI. Using some of the tips you saw earlier with straightening these lines out, it still looks like a sketch, but I am kind of, making it a little bit more organic by not making it perfect. Here, I can easily swipe on any layer to do contextual actions as well. So in this case, I went ahead and duplicated it. I did Alpha Lock, I drew on it, and then I adjusted it to the back of the previous layer and slid the opacity down to make a drop shadow. To make it a little bit softer, I used Alpha Lock again and made it have a bluish shadow instead, just for a softer, kind of more stylized look. As a quick aside, the in there that you see, that stands for normal, and if you tap on it, you can do all the different layer opacity styles, including multiply, things you might be familiar with in Photoshop. I can also give my layers and layer groups memorable names and adjust their order here. This one's not too hard to find, but it is important when you find yourself running out of room to draw. Click the wrench icon, click Canvas, and then freely crop and resize your board. You can also set exact dimensions under settings. Finally, let's talk about exporting your work in various formats. When you've finished up your work, you can click the wrench icon and export a drawing. When you click into Share, you'll see various options on format. Everything from PSDs that retain layers to PNGs and JPEGs. You can then airdrop it, text it to yourself, or save it to your device. You'll also see I just tapped on one of the coolest features, which is exporting a video of your drawing. It shows the entire process start to finish. I hope you found at least a couple of these tips helpful. Happy drawing!